What I'm going to ask you to just send me an email and I will send you a one-page, highlight of it tomorrow. But for the time being, that is, that's what it is.
Okay, can I just repeat that because a few people just came on the Zoom just now, and
Sure.
can I just recap real quick? This is in the requirements for the first-time home buyer and first generational home buyer Dream for All program. There are two requirements. One, the buyer cannot have owned a home in the past 3 years in California. Number two, at least one of the parents of one of the, if there's multiple buyers, at least one parent of the buyer could not have owned a home in the past 7 years. And if their parent, what was that?
The parents cannot own a property right now.
Oh, can't own a property right now, and if they ever did own one, they couldn't have owned one in the past 7 years.
No, that is not for the requirement for the parents. Okay, so for the borrowers, Monica, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for the borrowers, at least, so they cannot have owned a property currently, correct? And at least one of the borrowers cannot have owned a property in the last 7 years. For the parents, it's just simply that they cannot own a property right now. Or if the parents are deceased, at least one of the borrower's parents could have not owned the property at the time that they passed away. So if the parents owned a property a few years ago, but they don't own now, that's okay.
Wahid, is it okay to own a property outside of California?
Yeah, actually it doesn't say, but no, you cannot own a property. So this applies in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah. Monica, was that clear? And so Monica said that she's on mute and we can continue talking. So is there any question on this part?
So for the program, they have to meet both requirements.
Exactly. Yeah, for the first-time home buyers and the first-generation home buyers. Okay. So the first generation, the requirement is that at least one of the borrowers, if there are 4 borrowers altogether, at least one of them should have not owned a property in the last 7 years. And let's say that there are 4 borrowers and and there are 4 parents involved, at least one of the borrower's parents, if they are deceased at the time of death, should have not owned a property. Okay. So that is for the first generation qualification. So if the borrower's parents have owned a property, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, that's fine.
But at least one borrower's parents should not own property.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And it says that
So you need a buyer who does not own property or has not owned property, and they have a parent who has not owned property.
Okay. And it says that the language says, to the best of the home buyer's knowledge, whose parents, biological or adoptive, do not have any present ownership interest in a home in the United States, or if deceased, whose parents did not have any ownership interest at the time of death in a home in the United States. Okay. So if there are 4 borrowers, and let's say that all the parents are deceased, and 3 of them owned the property at the time of their deaths, but one of them didn't, then that qualifies.
And you mentioned 4 buyers. Is there a limit to how many people can?
Up to 5.
Okay.
All borrowers needs to be owner occupied, moving into the property, so there is no non-owner, co-borrowers. The program is strictly for a single family home, townhouse, or condo, but not for 2 to 4 unit properties. The income limit for counties of Alameda, Contra Costa, is 234,000. For San Francisco, 277,000. Santa Clara, it is the highest one, which is 287. And for San Mateo, the one that probably that you have, most of your clients, that is 277,000. So this is similar to last year, a little bit better. The down payment could be up to 150,000 or the down payment assistant, not the down payment. Could be up to $150,000 or 20% of the purchase price, whichever is the lower of the two. When I did some calculation, somebody can purchase a property for up to where is my calculator? I'm gonna round off some numbers. You can purchase a property almost for 1.3 million. And there is going to be $150,000, down payment assistant. And then the balance of it is going to be another mortgage, which is almost for 1.15 million. Or the maximum contribution from the borrower, and this is another difference from last year, is only 5%. So if a borrower, in a way that the maximum purchase price is 1.368 million. 1.368 million, which in that case, the borrower will put down 5%, which is 68,400. The down payment assistance is 150,000, and the balance of the loan of 1.15, it is, a first mortgage. Is there any question about these numbers or?
So in terms of pre-qual, do they have to qualify for the whole balance or just the second one?
They need to qualify for the mortgage balance. So let's say, let's go for the maximum. So you have a client who is finding a property that it is 1.368 million, 1,368,000. And they bring in a 5% down payment, which is 68,400. The down payment assistance is 150,000, and that will leave us with 1.15 million. The borrower needs to qualify for that 1.15 million.
Thank you.
The share appreciation is very similar to last year. At the time when the borrower refinances or sells the property, they give back the state of California the original down payment, whatever it is, let's say in this case, 150,000. And they gave back 20% of the appreciated value of the property. So in the scenario that I gave, let's say that your borrower buys something for 1.368 million, and 5 years from now that they sell it for $2 million. And so the appreciation is the appreciation is 632,000. And in that scenario, the borrower will pay back the $150,000 plus 126,400 of the appreciated value of the property. Any question? Christine, you seem to
Yeah,
have-
no, I'm seeing- so at refi, they would owe the 150 or whatever is remaining of the 150 plus 20%. So in this case, it would be 150 or what's left plus 126.
Right. I think that let me give you a kind of like an easier number to follow. Let's say somebody buys a property for $1 million. Okay. So in this case, the maximum down payment assistance is going to be 20%. It is going to be 150,000, correct? And the borrower comes up with a difference.
Okay.
Or the loan amount can be 850,000, but there is going to be a mortgage insurance because the LTV is going to be 85%, correct? And let's say that the borrower 5 years from now sell the property for 1.2 million. So there is an appreciation of $200,000 that the borrower benefits. What the borrower, the state of California wants is the original $150,000 and plus 20% of the appreciation. So they want the 150,000 and an additional 20% of 200,000 appreciation, which is $40,000. And the borrower, gets to keep $160,000 in the form of additional equity in the property.
And what if they don't sell or refi?
They can keep it until for the 30 years the term of the loan is expired, and at that time Calahafa will require an appraisal
After 30 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
and whatever the appraised value is going to be, that is going to determine the appreciation, and Calahafa will ask for 20% of that. So this loan program expires at the end of the term of the loan, which is 30 years. Now, the process for this,
Sorry, Wahid, one more question.
yeah, sure.
If you refi within, let's say, 3 years and you pay that 20%, is it reassessed again at the end, or no, you're just done with it once you pay that 20%?
Once let's say 3 years from now, you want to refinance.
Yes.
So you let Calahafa know that you're refinancing and you send them a copy of the appraisal.
Okay.
The appraised value is going to determine the value of the property, which will determine the appreciated value of the property. Let's say in this case scenario, 3 years from now, the borrower now buys the property for 1 million, and 3 years from now, it is 1.2, and that's the appraised value.
Mhm.
Again, the same rule applies.
Right, but once you give them the 150 plus 40,000 or 20% of the appreciated value, do you owe anything after that?
You
'Cause
don't.
Still 30 years later is, okay.
No, you're done with it. Okay. The process for this loan program is that the borrower, I pre-approve them. And based on, their income and what they can afford and what is their desirable housing expenses, that needs to be just regular process of pre-approval. And I will give them a pre-approval. It's a CalHFA pre-approval. And then the borrower goes and takes a 1-hour online courses that it is talking strictly about this, first generation. The thing that you're emphasizing is want to make sure is that the borrowers do understand, have a very good understanding of the shared appreciation, because this is something that it seems that it is confusing, for people. Prior to that, either they can qualify or they cannot. But once they can qualify, then they do need to understand that what does this mean, this 20% appreciation, and how does that work? Because they don't want to be, CalHFA does not want the borrowers to be surprised at the end of, let's say, 4 or 5 years, that all of a sudden CalHFA is going to ask them for $50,000 or $60,000 more on top of the down payment assistance. What CalHFA is trying to do is to make sure that there is no misrepresentation from the part of the lenders or brokers or loan officers. So they need to take that 1-hour course. Then sometime in March, the CalHFA starts opening the portal for registration. And at that time, I will let the borrowers know that you need to go. I will give them the information where to go. And they register, put their name and so forth, and they have already taken the courses. So there is a record of them already there. And CalHFA is gonna let them know that, yes, we reviewed your documentation and everything, and you are gonna be eligible for this loan program. Not approved, but eligible. And that is gonna happen in the month of March. In the month of April, or toward the end of March, CalHFA will do a lottery. And we keep our fingers crossed for our clients, borrowers to win the lottery. And if they win the lottery, then CalHFA issues a voucher that it is good for 90 days. During that time, the borrowers goes and gets into contract, and hopefully that they will close the loan within that 90 days. But if they cannot, then they will let us know, and we, on behalf of the borrowers, approach CalHFA and ask for an extension. And we were told that CalHFA is going to be amenable to extending, because it's possible that they may make 1, 2, 3 offers, and their offers are not accepted. As that's the case, unfortunately, in the Bay Area. I don't think that there is anything else that I left, unless that you have any questions. Oh, one thing, what I would do usually is that I will give them or pre-approve them for the max that they can qualify for. Not necessarily that they will use it or they will buy it, but just in case.
And Wahid, if the home depreciates in value, do they owe anything to CalHFA?
They don't. Yeah, but the one thing that they cannot do is they cannot do a short sale. You
Okay.
remember that, I don't know if you were around when, when the real estate market crashed back in 2009 and 10 and so forth, there was a lot of short sales. So if they sell the property and do short sale, then CalHFA will ask for the difference. Not for the
I have a
for the down payment part of it. Go
Wahid,
ahead.
can you clarify one thing that I think borrowers have an issue with, because people are thinking that, like, I have clients that have said, oh, I don't want the government to put a lien on my house. Can you explain how that is actually beneficial, because it's an interest-free lien that only gets paid by equity sharing?
Yeah, sure. So it is a second mortgage, but it's still or a second loan. And it is going to appear as a 20% on the title of the property, as it would if somebody, let's say, got a first mortgage and got a second, for 80% and got a second mortgage for 10%, there is going to be two liens on the property. This is not any different than that. The difference is that there is no interest involved on this 20% or $150,000 down payment. But there is going to be a lien, and I'm not sure that it is not any different than any other mortgages. So people shouldn't be concerned because it's just the government or a state of California is the one who is putting a second lien on the property.
Does anybody have any questions about how to apply? You can tell us how to apply, how long the application takes, what kind of documentation they will need to provide to get pre-approved.
For pre-approval at this point, for me it is similar to I've had dealt with all of your clients, everybody's, that I ask for very minimum. I pull a credit report unless that they say that my credit is really good and I'm 100% sure about it and I don't have any debts. Then at that time I say that, okay, there is no need to pull a credit report, or we can pull a soft credit. If they are W-2 borrowers, I just need 2022 W-2, one pay stub, and probably a bank statement, particularly if they are going to be putting 5% down payment. And pretty much that's about it. If there is a situation where, let's say somebody is buying a property for 1 million and we get 150,000 for down payment assistance, so there is going to be a small mortgage insurance because the loan to value is going to be 85%. There is a room for an additional 5%, and that is kind of like depending on the borrowers, and that for closing costs, to cover the closing costs and the points and fees and everything else that the borrower needs to be paying. But as far as the qualification and pre-approval, it's just the same process that I go with, just normal loans. At this point, at the beginning, since this is going to be a very long process, I don't want to, trouble the borrower, your clients, to just provide me tons of documents that it is going to be expiring in 30 days or 60 days from now, and they have to provide all over again. And if they are self-employed, then they need to provide their tax returns. You're always welcome to call me. I'm sure that you will have questions, and I will be happy to, talk to you and give you more information. It's a good program, and I'm sure that you have clients that you can qualify and take advantage of this.
Does anybody have any other questions for Wahid? I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my computer. I should have signed up through Google Chrome instead of Safari. If anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat, or you could unmute yourself. Okay, I think we're good. Everybody If anyone has any questions, you can also reach out to me. Or let's see, this is my email. And my cell phone. There we go. Thank you so much, Wahid, for explaining this program, and
Yes, sure.
hopefully we can get you some buyers so we can get some people into homes, first-time home buyers, first-generation home buyers. Let's make the dream come true.
Okay, right. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, good to see everybody. Bye now.
You guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.